So show it, don't make our heroes wait. Invite in vain, show them what you can do. Show them what you can do, please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors, protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, KUAW Wilson. Now here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Good afternoon and welcome once again to Wave Your Grades. We emanate from the WEB Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri, over KUAW.org. The originator, the founder, Mr. Louis George Walker, used that acronym to describe the young people with whom he works, the teachers, the tutors, and it stands for knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. The epitome of such a description appears this afternoon as our very special guest. And one of the reasons I can claim that after having met him very recently is observing his interaction with young people, some of whom we know from the Smart Club. And Brother Fears, as far as particular and appropriate title is concerned, I would like for you to introduce these listeners and those of us in the studio in a more accurate way. Thank you for being here with us. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Harold Pan, and I'm the owner of Aries Trucking, Aries Transportation Incorporated, and Aries Logistics Solutions. But mostly I'm focused on the school right now because the school is designed to help people who need second chances, wanted to change their lives and be regenerative to society.
This is so very, very important because the young people with whom we work are not at an age where they have gone through a career or missed having a career and are consequently among those whom you tutor, teach, and indeed hire. But it is very important for them to learn about, quote, the ways of the world, unquote, because so often when we feature someone working with students, we forget that there are non-college degree experts, intelligent operators of those resources. So that has been interesting to observe you working with our Smart Club. And if you had to kind of capsulize, how would you say that it is important for young people to know the kinds of things you are doing with those who are older.
Life is a learning experience.
Yes, sir.
And just because you happen to reach the age of 40 or 50 or 60, that doesn't mean that you stop learning or that you know everything. So my standpoint is to, help people that even at my age, that are looking to change their lives and get reacclimated and understand how society really works and what corporate America or any employer would expect from them. Part of our curriculum over at the CDL Institute is life skills and financial literacy.
Let me say to you, by the way, I forgot to mention DeQuay when we were coming on at the beginning that I had wanted Mr. Pierce to walk over from where he was and be here in person, but I'm going to ask him to let you know why he couldn't walk right over this afternoon. How is that the case, Brother Pierce?
Well, I happen to be in the Dominican Republic right now.
It's a little walk.
Walked over here, but
I'm sure.
I didn't have enough time.
I can. Okay, I understand. Maybe if we have you next week, you can start walking now.
Yes, sir.
But
And that goes to the testament that even while I'm here in the Dominican Republic, my business is still running
yes, sir.
and things are still being generated. So being a entrepreneur allows you freedom to enjoy yourself. A lot of
Praise
people
God.
think people are going to business to make money, but money is not, it's a way of keeping score. We go into business to make money to buy time to do the things that we like and want to do and spend with our family.
Well, needless to say, I have some questions for you, but before I get to those, and we will repeat this more than once, will you please give contact information for those who are interested in your services and your knowledge?
My personal cell phone number is 913-526-1126. That's 913-526-1126. And I answer my phone 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
That is outstanding. The last time you and I saw each other, we were at the library in the midst of young people who were discussing things that are important to their orientation and their lives. What was it about the young people and their discussion that impressed you most?
What impressed me most is that they overcome a lot of trauma and a lot of setbacks in life. But that's the goal of life. It's designed to set you back and knock you down and humble you. But the thing is, you have to get back up. You have to take responsibility for your own situation and make changes to that. And that's what I found that impressed me about these young people. At some point, they decided to take responsibility for their own uh, situation and started to make changes.
Those of us who are tutors and or refer to ourselves as mentors. I am an educator, started teaching in 1964. As you observe the landscape, and we get the opportunity to talk to young people, what are some of the things that you feel adults need to help these young people learn that sometimes we forget or miss?
Well, Mr. Boyd, I think what's missing in today's education is that, and like I told those students, this is the United States of America. And setbacks, racism, um, is built in the fabric of this country. So nobody is coming to save you. And once you understand that you are responsible for your own success, you have to account for your own failures. And you need to make adjustments along the way. I come from a background of inner city, and I had my pitfalls, and I have pitfalls every day, but the goal is to keep moving and to keep learning and to keep adjusting. You have to be flexible, and you have to really to take those punches on the chin and get right back up.
Now, one of the things that you just made me think of, I was going to ask a question about your background. I grew up on the south side of Chicago from when I was born for 38 years and then came to Kansas City. What about your background?
I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, in the inner city. I went to high school in the middle of the projects. It's called Kennard Junior High. Well, I went to junior high school in the middle of the projects. On the outskirts of the projects, I went to high school. It's called East Technical High School. And then in the middle of my high school term, they bused me to the west side. So again, you you have to adjust, you have to adapt, and you have to keep moving.
It's interesting because I was in Cleveland in the 1990s, and there was a school that had been recently built. It was a relatively new school, but it was in the heart of the inner city.
East
And
Tech.
I spent a week, but what was interesting, and you can perhaps tell me, but this is not such unique information that it might make you know which school. But I got there on Monday, and I was working with teachers on No One Rises to Low Expectations. And after Monday, after Tuesday that is, students started coming to me, asking me questions, telling me things about themselves. And the faculty said, "Mr. Boyd, you just got here Monday. And it is Wednesday, and these students know you. How did that happen?" And my response was, I went to the barbershop. And there was a barbershop a half a block away from the school. This was in Cleveland, Ohio. And particularly the fathers, this was a men's barbershop, started asking me about expectations for their children and telling me to tell them some stuff. And I was very impressed. Now, this was in the 1990s. As you recall your growing up, your educational experience, what I found seemed to be adults working together to help educators know that they considered school very important. Was this something that was all over Cleveland, Ohio, or just a few neighborhoods?
No, it was. In the inner city, that's just how it was.
Yes, sir.
I got plenty of whoopings for something I did 3 blocks away from my home. But
Absolutely.
everybody knew my father had a local barber shop, and my mother owned a little corner store. So not that we
Ah,
were famous,
wow.
but everybody they knew us. And my father was a deacon in the church.
Praise
And
God.
one little story, I was climbing on the top of the roof of the library, me and a bunch of my friends. We just was acting up. And so a man was walking by. He said, "Aren't you that Fears boy?" And I looked at him. He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm going to tell your father on you when I see him."
Watch out. Now that is amazing. And you said he owned a barbershop.
Yes.
That's remarkable because that's exactly the experience that I had. So I don't have to tell you how the brothers reacted towards each other, argued with each other, agreed with each other, but in the final analysis, as far as children were concerned, they agreed. We're not going to play with these young people. They are going to act according to our standards, not their own. So I was very impressed with Cleveland, Ohio. Now,
Thank you.
I'm very serious when I say that, and cannot bring to mind the names of those. You know what was most interesting about this particular school? In all of the schools I worked with across the United States of America, this school in Cleveland, Ohio, was the only place. I was there for 5 straight days. It was the only public school I had been to where in the morning they called all of the educators upstairs for a word of prayer. And it was a public school. Nobody was ashamed. They had the time for prayer and they went upstairs to the 3rd floor and formed a prayer circle. Let me ask you, as far as what you are doing now and who your clients generally are or should be.
Our clients are everybody. What we are really focusing on are the individuals that are coming out of the correction system, because I think they need help most of all. They've been incarcerated for a number of years, and the world changes every day. So when you're locked up for 10 or 15 years and you come out, it's like being born again. So we don't discriminate against race or religion or economic status. We take everybody. But my goal and the reason I built this school, me and my business partner, Stacy Landis, was to help people, and especially people that look like we do.
How long have you been in operation?
We've been in operation for a year.
Oh, wow.
And I used that old school method that was used on me. We had a student that was 19 years old, and he wanted to act up. We called his father. His father came up there and straightened him out. We had another young man wanted to act up. We called his uncle. He straightened out.
Now,
So when you have a foundation and people that care about you and are concerned about your progress, it's not that hard. And some of those people, the reason why they were incarcerated, because they didn't have that foundation and they didn't have that network of people to wrap their arms around them and make sure and hold them accountable.
Now, this is extremely important. By the way, okay, we have several minutes before our break. I want to make sure that KUAW Wilson, our producer and co-host, has an opportunity. Since I can't see you, I don't know when you want to come in and speak. But here is something I would like for Brother Fears to help us with. On one hand, we must be careful not to condemn forever those who have been incarcerated, who have had some violations. On the other hand, now this is going on at the same time, we must not glorify the mistakes that some people have made or at the time didn't feel were mistakes. 1 year is not a long time in operation, but I would suspect that you have met some interesting people, that 19-year-old being one of them. Are you continuing? Is there anything about what you do that surprises you or challenges you to a great degree?
we have a gentleman that's been incarcerated for 42 years.
My God.
So that inspires me.
Yes.
That motivates me. And his success is my success. So what inspires me is a challenge. It's easy to take somebody from the suburbs that's been sheltered or provided for all their lives, but to get a man that's 60 years old, that been locked up for 42 years, and want a second chance and willing to put in that work, that inspires me.
As we have people who come to you, what are the criteria, or what is it in their application that would help them come to you on a full-time basis, or is there such a thing as a trial run? How does that entry process go?
We only have a few qualifications. You have to be 18 years old. You have to have a valid driver's license. If you don't have a valid driver's license, we'll help you get a valid driver's license. You have to be drug-free. If you're not drug-free, we're partnered with Village Initiatives to get you substance abuse training. And you have to pass a DOT physical. Part of that physical is a drug test.
Now, when one finishes the course, I know that when we were talking to the young people, you were talking about a commercial driver's license, driving a truck, that kind of thing. Once they complete your course, your entry requirements, what is the job that they get, or what are the kinds of jobs that they can get? Now, by the way, before you answer that question, there was some squeaking. Are you hearing that?
Yes, I am.
We're trying to look after that, so please forgive that. I have completed the course, and now I go where?
Well, once you completed the course and you have your license, we start setting you up with interviews. The job statistics say that out of school you can make anywhere from from 50,000 to 70,000 a year. So we start looking for jobs.
Yes.
And because I'm connected in the community, and one of my contracts is with FedEx, we enter you in the FedEx job portal, allow you to fill out an application to see if you qualify. Part of our program is a apprenticeship program where we're allowed to hire you from day one. I'm not going to call his name.
All right.
I'm going to just call him Mr. X.
Okay.
The gentleman that's been in prison, just got out of prison and still on parole for 42 years, he's part of our apprenticeship program. So he gets paid every week while he's in school.
Now let me say once again, the number to contact you is 913-526-1126. Before Brother Louis George Walker gets away, I want you to know, Brother Pierce, how those who are interested in what you are letting us know today can access this program. So please listen for a moment as the founder of KUAW, Louis George Walker, tells us how many ways they can hear Mr. Pierce.
All right, we want to thank you for listening to KUAW Radio today. Stands for knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And if you're listening to us right now, you're on either Facebook or YouTube. You can also pick us up on Twitter and Twitch. You can pick up the audio-only side on Get Me Radio, myradio.com, the online radio bot, Radio Garden, and KUAW.org. If you've got a smart speaker, go to KUAW or tell it to search for KUAW on your Amazon or your Google speaker, and you will hear us there. Also, you can pick us up on your Roku and on your Fire Stick. So just search for KUAW, and you can find us in 1,000 different places, and we're just glad to be here with you. And we want to say again, go Chiefs.
Thank you, Brother Louis George Walker and Brother Fears. There are not only those ways to hear you today, later today, but hold on, Louis George Walker, you were going to say something. Oh, okay. So that what you are giving us is available via various media just about forever. And as far as presentations are concerned, I am a college professor and need someone to address unusual careers. I am a school teacher and I'm tutoring some young people who are in their teens. I am a parent and I want my son or my daughter to know that even after incarceration, they can avail themselves of your services. So as I say that, how many different kinds of audiences do you approach? And if someone is interested in joining you or being employed by you, not to get that job, but to be on your staff, all of those different things, how many different ways do you make presentations?
Well, it's 3 different ways.
Right.
You can email me at hfears, which is HFEARS, at acdli.org. You can go to the website, www.acdl.org. Or the best way is to call my cell phone, 913-526-1126. I'll gather your information or have you text me, and I'll forward it to our intake officer.
So that if I need you to come and just sit with the class, you don't mind that?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. If I have a group, go ahead.
This is how much I respect you, Dr. Board. The phone rates here are 25 cents a minute.
My God. Well, then I promise I will help you with that. It is certainly worth this.
It's not that I need help, but what I'm saying, what you're doing is so important to me.
My God.
That I'm willing to absorb that cost. That's how important this is.
Well, it is certainly important to us, and I was just getting ready now, DeQuay, I don't know whether I should, to ask him to sit through the break.
No, let's sit through the break.
It's just a break announcement, and we'll come back back to you. My God, thank you.
Real quick, when he said that, I was thinking we could have done Zoom. A lot cheaper. Well, I do want to remind our 7th through 12th grade students that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization. Yes, we do say organization on purpose, with purpose. Stoots for Boots. Your essay title will be Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school who can be absolutely anyone, a teacher, a custodian, a cafeteria worker, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Waive Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. Please send entry or inquiry to acpatkuaw2024 AOL.com at AOL.com. Again, that is acpatkuaw2024 AOL.com at AOL.com. Now back to our host, Carl Boyd.
And a very profound thank you for waiting for us through that break, Brother Fears. And I have a 2-part question for you. One is, how many such opportunities like yours exists for those who might want to go into truck driving or whatever it might be? And how wide are your services?
Uh, our services reach through the Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri area. But just because you don't, I mean, you could live out of state and still come to our school.
All right.
We have a MOU with KCK Community College that you can go through the KCK Community College program and end up attending our school. Our MOU is in the works with Metropolitan Community College of Kansas City.
Yes.
So it's various ways. We partnered with Uncornered, and we're also partnered with Connections to Success. We are a approved training provider with Kansas Works, Kansas Partnership. So you can go through Kansas Partnerships to obtain funding to come to our school. The list goes on, but like I said, all you need to do is call me and we'll point you in the right direction. If you need help, we have people there to help you and walk you through the process.
And
we're also affiliated with Catholic Charities, so our students have gotten phone bills paid, rent paid, groceries while they're attending our school.
this is so very, very important, and I would be interested in finding out because you saw a need a year or so ago, and you met that challenge, you met that need. Do you see any particular trends as it relates to in the near future your services will be needed more, will be needed less? And what was it about the atmosphere a couple of years ago that caused you to come in this direction in the first place?
Again, I own two companies, two trucking companies.
Wow.
And I would pay $1,000, $750 for a driver, and then I would spend another 2 weeks trying to retrain them. Don't get
Okay.
me wrong, there are some good schools in the Kansas area, one or two, but none of those schools provide the wraparound service or the life skills or financial literacy or employment services that we do. And that's what makes our situation so unique. I designed a school that I needed when I got out of CDL school. So being in trucking since '09, I knew exactly what a student would need, and that's what I built.
The interesting thing for me, as you were kind to DeGray and myself as we were going to break, taking this time that you have, I want you to know in no uncertain terms how much we respect and appreciate you. And an example of that is the time that you have spent with young people. They are not coming into your employ next year. They're not going to be driving a truck before their junior year of high school. But you have spent that time with them. So we want very, very much for you to understand how much we respect you. And with that thought in mind, one question I have for you, you know, and most of us know, that, perhaps 75 to 90% of presentations to students emphasize either glamorous occupations or occupations requiring a college degree. There are so many ways to get a prestigious job. Do you find yourself having to compete and helping people to understand the realities not only of this less glamorous job, but while it might be less glamorous, is paying more than most to the young people and the older people who come through your program?
This is the thing. I've talked to people with PhDs and EDs and DDs and all kind of Ds.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, the first thing I ask them, what did you make out of college?
Uh-oh.
They were making $25,000-$30,000 a year with $250,000 worth of college debt.
That's right.
So where can you come out of in 6 weeks and start making $50,000 a year?
My God.
To 50 to 70 now
Yes, sir.
in 6 weeks. The next thing, the market is not saturated. There are 500,000 open truck jobs in the United States of America alone. The government is so pressed to get drivers, they are offering H-1B visas to truck drivers to come from foreign countries to drive. 85% of every piece of food or furniture or clothes or cell phones or belts, socks are being moved by a truck at some point.
You know, it is more than interesting to hear from you, and let me tell you why. And it's very interesting because my wife and I, as we observe the news from time to time, and there are hearings to confirm certain nominations by the president, so politics all around us. Now, here is a gentleman who is saying that at the same time there is a move to get rid of, quote, immigrants, unquote, that he has an opportunity for those coming in through a visa program, not only to come to America, but not only to come to America and be employed, but with a very attractive salary and moving conditions. So I would suspect we're not the only ones, Brother Pierce, who are saying thank you to you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't create the H-1B visa and I didn't create the shortage of drivers.
Oh, that's another thing. As far as the shortage is concerned, talk about it in the Midwest, East, and West.
Like I said, in the United States overall,
Wow. Yes.
there are 500,000 jobs. And I think in our area, it's like 70 or 80, close to 100,000 jobs in our area. You have to understand, we sit smack dab in the middle of the United States. So everything usually passes through this area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had the occasion to speak in Springfield, Missouri, and I was absolutely amazed at the truck traffic. So when you talk about truck trafficking and delivering goods, what are the various sizes of vehicles you train us on and train us to drive?
We train on big trucks. We train on school buses. So if you have a Class A CDL license, you can drive anything from a big truck to a box truck or a dump truck. If you have a Class B, you can drive a school bus, a dump truck, a concrete truck, any smaller vehicle.
Now,
You can even hot shot.
what's that?
Hot shot is this where you have a pickup truck with dualies, and it's designed to pull a trailer. It just, instead of in the bed, they have a fifth wheel, which attaches to the trailer. So you can pull loads that way. You can haul cars. You can haul vans. There's plenty of stuff to haul here. The actual transportation department, the base for the federal government Department of Transportation is right here on the border of Illinois and Missouri.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that tells you all the government contracts for transportation or hauling goods or that type thing is right here in our area. It sits on the Missouri-Illinois border. So that alone tells you how important this area is.
Absolutely. And I would
Again,
yes.
we sit in the middle of America.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I would like for Brother Fears to give me a promotion. And I'll tell you, before leaving Arizona, I drove a van for Best Western, and I was the van operator for trips to the airport that required a CDL. But my CDL for a van to get you from the hotel to the airport would not allow me to drive an 18-wheeler.
So you had a Class B.
There you go.
Or
Okay.
a chauffeur's license back in the day.
There you go. So what are the various grades from you were telling us that you got? It sounded like almost every available access to any public vehicle.
They have class class A, B, and class C license, but usually they all fall into one or two. It's either class A or class B, and they took the chauffeur's license and put it under the class B.
Okay.
So there's no longer a chauffeur's license.
Now, if someone tuned in later than before, and we are listening to something that sounds very attractive, but let me tell you another thing. And do you have much problem convincing the general public as to how important what your clients and graduates do? You were talking about they transport everything from A to Z, and some of the PQR. Is there anything that you don't transport where a truck is concerned?
We transport everything.
Yes. Yes.
There's nothing that we don't. There's one thing that we don't transport. We don't transport people.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now I get the truck from where I am to the train or to the ship or what else?
Well, usually you take the container to the dock, and it's from the dock is it's put on a ship from there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I saw, I guess, if I recall correctly, something that I saw on television, which was a highlight where there was an 18-wheeler having some difficulty over some snow or over some ice. And wow, hadn't thought of this, DeQuay, and fire in this season we are in. When you look at California, and something that they had the audacity to refer to as a fire-nado, because you had those massive fires and 70 mile per hour winds. And now at the same time, the audacity to have a snowstorm, a blizzard, and all the shutdowns that we had last week. Brother Pierce, do you have special training for special conditions? Or do they have to deal with it when they come upon it?
We don't have there's no such thing as snow training.
Okay.
We have regular training, but in that training, we tell you how to deal with those adverse conditions.
Yes, sir.
This is the thing. Driving a truck is no different than flying a plane.
Okay.
Once you assume that role as the pilot or the driver, you have full control. As an owner, if you come and say, hey, Mr. Fears, the weather is too bad and I'm not going to drive, all I can do is say, okay. I can't force you. I can't threaten you. I can't coerce you.
My Lord.
To drive, because you are responsible. And once you deem it unsafe, there's nothing I can do.
Okay.
And sometimes we as owners take that out of the driver's hands. We tell them, listen, we don't care if you think you can drive in this bad weather. We're not moving any freight. As simple as that.
Yes, sir. Now I have.
You mentioned all this fire going on in California. Do you remember when New Orleans flooded?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How much water
My God.
was driven into Louisiana? Can you imagine all the medical supplies, all the
That's
water,
right.
all the
Come
food?
on.
FEMA is paying companies crazy to bring that stuff in.
Wow.
Every time there's a major disaster, trucks are involved.
That's right. That's right. And let me ask you something that, in one sense, amuses me, and I'm not sure I'm telling the whole truth, but I'm going to give it a try. DeQuay in this room is younger than I. You are younger than I. But I can recall growing up when I was a sophomore in high school and talking about driving and long distances. And Brother Fears, both my father and my mother, said that if you drive across country, follow a truck. They know the rules of the road. They are courteous, and you can trust them to follow most of the laws as far as speed limit and all of that. Now I'm thinking, at my current age, some of the things that I see among those who are driving trucks, in fact, don't seem to be as courteous and as careful as I remember them being. So let me ask Brother Fears, am I forgetting something, or I just missed it when I was young and it's a myth?
No, again, sir, times have changed.
Yes, sir.
The reason why we have so many jobs open in this industry, because all the people our age quit.
Wow.
There's a thing called the electronic log device, the ELD.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day, truckers had 3 or 4 paper logs, and they could run till they got tired.
Wow.
And a lot of them, the reason why they did have accidents is because they fell asleep behind the wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So, not that they was bad drivers, but it was a hustle to make money. You made great money.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day. But the government came up with this electronic log system, so it made it easier, almost simple for the State Highway Patrol to see if you were out of service or over your hours. So since they couldn't make the money that they made and they couldn't cheat with the log books, they just retired.
Wow. Wow. This is good because it is not just technical training, but it's safety training as well,
Yes.
which is excellent. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but one of the places they allowed me to speak annually, as a matter of fact, our final celebration for the organization I was speaking for was in Reno, Nevada. And after touching down in Las Vegas or somewhere there abouts, our bus would take us through the mountains. And we would see, please tell me what the term might be, runoffs. That is an anticipation of bad weather or something like that, and a place that the truck could actually run off. Are you familiar with that? And what is it that I'm trying to describe?
It's called a runoff.
Oh, my.
And here's the thing. It's designed that to give that driver an option to run, kind of drive up a hill, to one, give him an opportunity to get that tractor under control,
Yes, sir.
and not to plow into cars.
Wow.
If I drove in Montana in the winter one time, I will never drive there again.
Wow. My goodness.
It's I'm 6 foot, 240 pounds.
Yes, sir.
I was terrified. I
Wow.
white knuckled that all the way through, going at about 5 to 10 miles an hour.
My goodness.
It is very easy to get 80,000 pounds going one direction that you don't want it to go.
Oh, Lord.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Now, is it correct that on the bus I was riding on, we were behind some truckers who were they were shifting gears, but it seems like I remember the door being open and they were standing or something like that. I'm just trying to remember what that was that I saw, but I'm like you. All I needed to see was that one time, and decided that would not be a place I would want to drive. But let me say to you, Mr. Pierce, on the other end of that, it's hard to express how much I admire excellent truck drivers, and certainly particularly at this time of year.
Here's the thing. Most people get the impression of driving trucks that are for the uneducated or not that smart. But just imagine, you make split-second decisions
Yes, sir.
for hours on end that affects other people's lives. Not yours, just yours, but other people around you.
Well, let me say one other thing, too, that I was talking about how it used to be, driver's courtesy and all of those kinds of things. But let me tell you something else that I am observing in the times in which we are living in now. And that is you're having to deal with so much discourtesy among other drivers because they can drive faster on hitting the ignition when the light changes, or take advantage of the truck while you are switching gears. Do you find it necessary to help those whom you train to understand that they might not be driving under ideal conditions where other drivers are concerned?
We go over that.
Yes, sir.
We go over that. Most people tend to want to speed up.
Yes.
We are taught to slow down.
Okay. Okay.
We are taught to give space. We call it cushion. And we are taught not to let our ego in the size of that truck dictate how aggressive we are.
This is so important and so good. Brother Louis George Walker came back in the room. I get a chance to say to him, Brother Walker, this is one of those programs that we would like wide distribution of, because what Brother Pierce is saying is so very important. Coming now to the end of the hour, before we go, Brother Pierce, one more time, someone can come to you for training as young as 18 maybe. Okay, that's right. Okay, 18. And it sounds like as old as about 243, but how old realistically?
Realistically, you know what? That's a God's gift.
Praise.
If you're sharp in mind and
Okay.
physicality,
Yes, sir.
there's no age limit.
Okay. This is so enlightening, so good. And by the way, before we go, we're getting to the end of the program. Is there anything you would want to say to the young people we engaged at the library? Any statement whatsoever?
Just remember, you are responsible for your own feelings. You are responsible for your own actions. You need to understand situational appropriateness, and self-esteem is self-esteem. It's not your mother's, your father's,
Wow.
your boyfriend's,
That's
your
good.
sister. It's self-esteem. So I don't cotton to people saying, well, you made me feel bad about myself. You have to wake up loving yourself every day, and you have to wake up ready to fight for yourself every day.
Wow. Let us say a profound thank you for spending the time that you did, and from the Dominican Republic, and really honoring us with your presence. I don't know if you do, but it would be interesting if I were a driver to hear from you from time to time, a word from Brother Pierce. And we thank you for giving us a word this day. Prayerfully, we can get you back.
All you need to do is what you did earlier, Dr. Boyd. Just ring my phone.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
be glad to accommodate.
God bless
Never too
you.
busy for you, sir.
You are too kind, and I'll throw that back at you. So God bless you, and thank you very much.
No problem.
This is, wow, Wave Your Grades, KUAW.org, a very special interview with Brother Harold Fears, who was really important in the program we did with the young people whom we know, because it was the Smart Club and some others. Let me turn it over now to our announcer, DeQuay Wilson.
Before I get us out of here, I would like to thank Mr. Fears not only for his investment in people, but also affording people second chances. I want to thank you for that.
Wow.
Now I'd like to thank our listeners, our viewers, and our guests for joining us on your Stutes for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We do come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now here is our host, I'm sorry. Carl Boyd will close with either Carl's commentary on academic patriotism or his daily message for students in honor of veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
I better do just one message very quickly. We're at the end of the hour. To students across the USA, your Stutes for Boots message for this day. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. This is Carl Boyd for Louis George Walker, DeQuay Wilson, and gracious God and wonderful Wanda. I'm on my way home.